So on one hand, it does feel kind of weird to make a negative video about Patrick Mahomes on a game that he won and his team won, but at the same time, the reason I'm doing it is obvious because they only won by 3 due to a last-second field goal, largely because of a giant gust of wind at the end there against a team that they should have won by a lot more than. I mean, Atlanta's not bad. I think they're mediocre, but certainly they're not as good as Kansas City, and Kansas City did not play their best game. Let's talk about what went wrong. I think this play is going to be a good example of kind of showing a lot of what went wrong for Kansas City. Really, the main thing I want to talk about is Kansas City was without their starting right guard and right tackle in this game, and it showed. The offensive line as a whole didn't play well, and I do think that, having 2/5 of your offensive line back would certainly help. This play is just a good example, just in general, of how the pressure that Atlanta was able to get on Mahomes really affected Kansas City in a huge way. So it's going to be a cover 3 zone. It's actually a zone blitz. I have the wrong graphic on the screen, so only 6 players in coverage, not 7. But other than that, basically the same idea. There's just going to be 3 over the middle of the field instead of 4. But yeah, anyways, the concept that Kansas City has is very good against cover 3 zone, and it's especially good against a cover 3 zone blitz because there's one less player in coverage. The Atlanta player covering deep to Mahomes' right is going to stay deep. The one who's covering the flat will probably stay shallow, meaning that for Kansas City, they could get an opening wide open, sort of in the middle area. But when Mahomes takes this snap, yes, it gets open, but he doesn't have time to get over there, so he ends up just trying to fire one towards Kelsey and can't get the completion. That was just kind of a desperation thing because he just didn't have the time to get the throw to his right, since he partially because he was on the hash marks to his left, so it was just a tougher throw. But yeah, the pressure really came in a big way there. And the pressure came in from the backup right guard, so if that's Osemele, it's probably a different situation. So that's definitely a factor. I think it's fair to bring that up. I want to now talk about this sequence because this whole 3-play sequence was a disaster by Kansas City. And usually they're great in the red zone and great everywhere, but they were a disaster right here. So it's zone coverage, and you see Kelsey's route. This is a route that can work against zone coverage, kind of gets open sort of towards the sideline. That's the way that Kelsey is running it. And so Mahomes takes the snap. He looks Kelsey's direction because why wouldn't you? It's Travis Kelce, maybe the best receiving tight end of all time, so it makes sense to look in his area. And you see, as of right now, there is a clear opening, and this is a touchdown 9 out of 10 times for Mahomes. But it looks like they just weren't on the same page. It looked like Mahomes was expecting Kelsey to run further deep when that's not what he was trying to do. And it just looks like they weren't on the same page more so than the throw was off. Like, watch how the throw was just further deep. And, that would have been a good throw if that's the route that Kelsey was running, which is what leads me to believe it was just a miscommunication than it was just he whiffed on one, but at the same time, maybe he just whiffed on one too. Sometimes with the great players, we always assume miscommunication, and they actually do miss throws sometimes too. Mahomes is human like everyone else. That's not a great play. So then they ran this play, which was supposed to just be a halfback screen to Mahomes' left. Very simple. You get how it works. Let's talk about what happens. Mahomes takes the snap, he fakes the handoff, runs to his right, and there is just immediate pressure right there from the right, and you could blame the offensive lineman there. I think that's fair, but it looks like more, again, it's almost miscommunication to some degree as well, as both the right guard and tackle move way far in, which allows 2 Atlanta players to be completely just free to try and get to Mahomes. So now Mahomes wants to get this throw over to Bell, and also worth noting, if he does get this throw over, it's a touchdown, easily. I mean, every Atlanta player is further to Mahomes' right than to his left, so this is definitely a great situation. I worded that last part kind of weirdly. What I mean is there's no one to Le'Veon Bell's left, and that's really the ideal situation. But Mahomes' throw is high, and we can blame Mahomes if we want to. The reality is only a few quarterbacks in the league make that kind of throw where you're throwing off your back foot and still able to hit Le'Veon Bell like that. But I think it's also fair to say one of the quarterbacks who makes those types of plays is usually Mahomes. So yes, it's understandable, but I just feel like he looked human in this game. Maybe not he's still Mahomes, but he did he didn't look like typical Mahomes. So then this play would happen where, again, he's going to go back to Kelce, Atlanta playing the same coverage. This time Kelce's running over the middle, though, as opposed to running towards the outside. So you can kind of see where this bubble in this gap in the coverage could be. You could see a throwing window basically in between two Atlanta players, but before he gets over the middle. So once this play starts, Kelce runs a really good route here, and he is kind of open. Like, he's not wide open, but you can definitely make an argument that Mahomes should make this throw, but he has to really get rid of it right now. He can't wait too long. It probably should be out of his hands right now. He is currently into throwing motion, but I honestly think that that's too late. I think if you want to make this throw, he should have made it a little bit quicker. It's tough. It is good defense by Atlanta. And there's going to be a great finish on this play, and it gets intercepted. Good defensive play, for sure. You have to say that. It was a good defensive play. He tried to fit it through a tight window. It didn't work out. It happens more often than not. He is able to fit it through those tight windows. But I want to show something else. Watch his footwork on this play. I'm certainly no footwork expert, but I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to throw while also moving your, if you're right-handed, moving your right foot forward at the same time. It wasn't great form right there. And I just don't know what he was doing, to be quite honest, because he wasn't under pressure. Step into it. Don't throw off your back foot. And you got to get that throw higher. So the fact that he sort of had that weird footwork and then threw it too low, because you want to throw it high, make Travis Kelce make a leaping catch, and if not, then it's just incomplete. That's the ideal situation. But Mahomes didn't get a ton on it, and it was kind of a bit slower of a toss than it usually is from Mahomes. And part of me just wonders if it was kind of the awkward footwork. He's so good at making throws off balance, but you don't have to make that throw off balance, get your feet square. This one's another play that just kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit. And usually for Kansas City, they're so good, and they just make you say, wow, oh my goodness, how are they doing this? This game, it made you kind of say, what are you doing? Where it's going to be a cover 2 zone. That's the play. And you see the concept on the left. That's where Mahomes wants to throw to. And so that's what they're looking for. But what Atlanta is doing with this cover 2 zone is they're being clever in how they're doing it. So they're going to have a 4-man rush, but it's not going to be just the 4 defensive linemen who are rushing. Instead, a linebacker who's in a 2-point stance is going to drop back into coverage, and a defensive back is going to rush the passer. So still 4-man rush, just with different personnel. Mahomes takes the snap, and he's going to look to his left, and before he can see if anything's going to be open or not, he notices he's under pressure. So, unfortunate, but it happens. It was a good defensive play, good disguise. Give credit to Atlanta for that. But now he has a decision to make. He has not checked how his check down routes are doing. He has not looked in that direction. But he has to get rid of the ball right now if he wants to get rid of the ball. Otherwise, you have to just, you can throw it into the dirt and just, assume that no one happens to be there, which I think is a safe assumption, or you can take the sack. Personally, I like throwing it into the dirt. Instead, he tosses it to a check down, again doesn't step into it, which results in not a very quick throw, and it nearly got intercepted, and that's just it's just a mistake. For one thing, he basically looked as he was throwing it. It wasn't quite a no-look pass, but it was pretty close, so that's not good. And on top of it, again, it's improper footwork. It is, and it can drive you crazy. These are the kind of things that are the reason why Mahomes didn't get drafted with the top 9 picks, is because he has some slight mistakes. Obviously, the good outweighs the mistakes. No one's going to argue that. And I should be clear, because I am getting on Mahomes a bit in this video. Mahomes is ridiculously amazing. He's the best quarterback in the world. We all know that. Do you know how Dan Marino played in Week 16 of his 3rd season starting? No, of course not. Nobody does. Nobody's going to care about this game. But it is important to bring up what went wrong. So, for Mahomes, I'm sure it's going to be important for him and Andy Reid to watch the tape. And they're going to look at these things and say, yeah, we got to not do that. This next one was another just bad situation. I don't really know if I want to criticize Mahomes too much for this one. I actually kind of think it was a fine decision where it's a cover 1 play. So they have 2 safeties deep, but only one's going to stay deep. The other runs over the middle. This is called a cover 1 robber. And for Mahomes, Tyreek Hill is running a go route to his right. That's where Mahomes wants to throw, which, again, I get this. Tyreek Hill on a one-on-one matchup. He's been beating great corners all season long when he's one-on-one. A.J. Terrell, who's, he's been a really good rookie for Atlanta, he's just going to really be good on this one. Mahomes takes the snap. He looks to his right. Once he notices that there's only a safety deep, he says, yeah, let's take this chance. Can't really tell if Hill's going to be open or not, but he's going to throw the 50-50 ball to a guy who is one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the NFL. And just sometimes it doesn't work out. He fires one up, and this is nearly intercepted. It just, fell out at the end there. And if that was intercepted, that game was over. So that's kind of how close this game was. That's not a great situation. It just isn't. But again, I gotta just say, that's more of a great defensive play, and Tyreek Hill, I think, is still going to be Tyreek Hill for the rest of the season. I do believe everything I said is a fair criticism. I wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't, obviously. But there still is that flip side. So this is the flip side, where at any moment, this Kansas City offense can pull this out of their hat. It's going to be a cover one play once again, man coverage. This time to have two receivers running deep routes. One's going to go over the middle, and that's Hill. Hill is basically just saying, I'm going to take away the deep safety, and then we'll have a one-on-one matchup towards the sideline, and that could get open. Mahomes takes the snap, and this time you're going to notice this is open. There is a window here, and it's not wide open, but Mahomes, he knows, hey, I have the best deep ball in the league. I'm going to take this chance. He makes the throw. Robinson gets open, makes the grab for a touchdown. And that's just the issue of playing against Kansas City, is at any moment this can happen. This was not a great game by the Chiefs. It just wasn't. Mahomes wasn't great. The Chiefs' offense as a whole wasn't great. Their defense was awesome. I'm not talking about their defense in this video, but their defense was really good. But their offense wasn't. Despite that, they can still pull off one of those plays at any moment, and you really have to be perfect to beat Mahomes and to beat Kansas City. And I think one of the crazy things about Mahomes is it kind of just feels like he can get so much better. It honestly feels like there's so much he can improve on, and he didn't have a great day, but let's be honest. We know these things don't happen too often, and he still is an absolute threat, but you would like to see them clean up some of this stuff because playoffs are in 2 weeks, and for them it's going to be 3 weeks because they'll have a bye, but, you're going to play good defenses. You're going to have to be able to not make as many mistakes, but let's be honest, they're Kansas City. They're really good. They're the favorite to win the Super Bowl for a reason. It just wasn't a great day. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.